Good morning and welcome to another video on the Retro Brown channel. Today we are doing a Ledyba only run in Pokemon Gold. Yeah, you heard that right, a Ledyba only run. This Pokemon is very infamous for being a bad Pokemon in Gen 2. Well, to be fair, in most generations. And that really pretty much comes down to its stats. I mean, look at the distribution of those stats. It's got these little arms, which we just assume that it's going to be a punching Pokemon, and it does learn punching moves. But it's only got 20 base attack. It's got a weirdly high special defense at 80. It's a strangely built Pokemon. Really is a strangely built Pokemon. But you know what? I actually don't think this is going to be as bad as we really think. The problem with the Spinarak run came at the back end of the run. When we got to blue and we got to red. And it actually meant that we had to learn double team to get through. Considering the type coverage of moves that we get, I actually think this is going to be possible without double team. But annoyingly, we do lose this very first rival fight, and let's go name our rival for today. So our rival for today is going to be Adam H. He's one of the newer subscribers that we had during the month of Retro Brown. I am starting to get through all of them subscribers, and you are going to be the rivals at some point. Thank you for subscribing, and hope you enjoy this video. So this brings us on to talking about Ledyba. It's a really bad Pokemon for its physical attacking. 20 base attack, and we start off with likes of Tackle, Supersonic. We're going to get Comet Punch at level 15. But just starting off with Tackle alone, it's become such a slog in this early game. And this is where we lose the majority of our time on this run, is just getting through these early stages. When we can get through to Violet City, of course we are going to go straight to Sprout Tower, because with our typing of Bug Flying, we resist the Bellsprout's Vine Whips, meaning we can get some very easy experience on every single trainer. We get around about 54 experience per Bellsprout, especially when they're level 3 as well, meaning we can get up some quick levels here. Being an early route bug type, we do get up levels pretty quickly. We are in quite a fast level up group. Honestly, that stat spread is still really confusing me. Like, why does its special defense need to be that high compared to its normal defense? It's very strange, isn't it? But we are a Ladybug Pokemon, and I don't think I've ever met anyone who's thought a Ladybug is strong. But unless you're thinking of Bug's Life, who knows? Either way, we are going against the Hootoos here, against Sage Lee, and even at 6 HP, because we've got that resistance against the Bellsprout, we can take quite a comfortable win. We do have Supersonic, which, even though it's an awful move, will prove really, really useful, and you will see that when we get into Azalea, why it becomes so useful. So, even in this early stages, this is the only way we can get past Birdkeeper Ape. By hitting that Supersonic, by hitting itself with Confusion, it's the only way we can really get past most of these bird trainers that have bird stab moves. Flying stab moves, sorry. Because with our Bug Flying and our bad defenses, or like physical defenses, yeah, we don't really match up too well against any stab flying Pokemon in this early game. Supersonic is really the only way that we manage to get through these fights, and even though it's got terrible accuracy, it does pull through for us here. Pidgey hits Self-Confusion, and we are now on to Falkner. And I still feel like for level 13 is not going to be enough. Tackle doesn't do much, and I'm not worried about this first Pidgey. I'm worried about the Pidgeotto because it has Gust, and that's a stab flying move in this generation. It isn't in Gen 1, it is a normal type move. And of course it doesn't really comply, it hits Self-Confusion once and then breaks out of it. Meaning we do only get Supersonic off right at the end, but it's not enough. A Gust takes us out, so we need to go and level up, which is really annoying. But it's going to be worth it, because at level 15 we get Comet Punch. It's still not a great move, but because it's 18 base and it can hit multiple times, if we hit up to 5 times with it, then yeah, it's going to be much more useful than a Tackle will be. So as long as we can hit our Supersonics, we've got a good chance to win this. We get critical hit with Comet Punch there as well. In this generation, multi-hit moves don't continue on a critical hit if the first one is a critical hit. Each one has a chance to be a critical hit, but not every single one will be a critical hit. Because of Comet Punch, we do take down Falkner, and I'm not surprised we have to be level 15 to do this. he's not exactly a bad trainer, but he's pretty awful. He's one. I'm pretty sure I watched a video from Smith Plays recently, and he used AI to rank every single gym leader in the entire series, and Falconer was rated by AI to be the complete worst gym leader there has ever been. And yeah, we've just beaten with a Ledyba, so yeah, I think that does say a lot. Now, Union Cave wasn't a problem, and I have gone against literally every single trainer I can, and I got through Union Cave, and I got walled by Hiker Anthony. So we had to try and use our ninja strats to get past him, and we do it. But I don't want to go against rock type moves. We are quad weak to rock, and I'm going to have to keep that in mind for the later stage of the game. So, the Rocket Side Quest is not really too much of a problem. Even though we are a bug type, we are weak to poison. We don't really have too much of a problem with this Rocket Side Quest. That brings us on to Bugsy. Now, it made sense to go against Bugsy first, because we've got a big problem with the rival. The rival starts off with a Ghastly. Not one of our level up moves can actually hit a Ghastly. So, yeah, we've got a bit of a problem. And at level 22, we learn Light Screen, Reflect, and Safeguard, which are some really good moves, to be fair. Safeguard definitely is one I want, because it means that I can't be paralyzed, poisoned, confused. Any status effects will not affect us, so I'm actually really happy that we can get Safeguard as a move. Bugsy, honestly, is not too much of a problem, but I am worried about the rival next with that Ghastly, and I'm not really sure how we're going to go about that without struggle strats, and that's not going to be enough to beat the Quilava. So even though Bugsy is quite an easy fight, the rival is going to be a different story. And it's at this point that, as I alluded to earlier, we've not been able to learn Fury Cut, because I honestly thought that we could learn that being a bug type. Yeah, I didn't have the right moves to go against the rival, so it was actually worth me resetting here to go against the rival with a different moveset. So we actually need Supersonic for this fight, and that's because it's the only way that Ghastly can deal damage to itself. Otherwise, we're going to have to rely on Struggle, and to be fair, I'd rather not do that, because we need those moves to be able to take on the rest of his Pokemon. So, for the first time in this series ever, Supersonic is the way that we are going to beat a rival fight. It is the only way we can do this without Struggle strats, because any of the type coverage moves that we want are all locked in Goldenrod just after this fight. We want Thunder Punch, we want Ice Punch, but we cannot get them until after this fight, meaning we have to rely on Supersonic. And this took so many tries. Now, the way that we do this, we get to level 22, we get Safeguard, and then we set up Supersonic. We can set up light screens to make sure that we don't take too much damage, but we are relying on Supersonic working its magic. We need to keep Safeguard up so we don't get paralyzed or put to sleep, but we can then Supersonic him and take him down. And this was the first time that I did this fight where Supersonic actually worked in our favour. We can use Light Screen to make sure Ember doesn't do much, Safeguard so we don't get burned, and then Swift, which we can pick up in Union Cave to deal out some damage. But we need to keep his Pokemon confused, otherwise we've not got a chance to win. We don't deal out much damage whatsoever, meaning we're going to have to chip away at them. And finally we beat Adam H, and Supersonic was our MVP move for this point. Now, when I went into Goldenrod, I bought 3 of each of the Elemental Punch because I wanted to alternate them between other moves throughout this run. Because I really need to keep Safeguard, and I really need to keep Light Screen for quite a while. So I went into the Whitney fight with Ice Punch. If we can get that freeze on the Miltank, that actually works in our favour, but Rollout does not work in our favour this time round. It actually would be worth our time to learn Rollout, but I don't think right now is the right time. We've got better special attack than we do physical attack, and yes, Rollout does have that cumulative damage, but right now those elemental punches are so key to our strategy to get through this. We beat Whitney with a critical hit, and it didn't take too many tries there. We are starting to get some momentum now we've got to Goldenrod. We pick up a Tract, and then in Ecruteak City, we're going to go against the rival for once in Burnt Tower, and and see how we actually do. So this is why we like Ice Punch. Did half damage on the Haunter, and then I started realising the Magnemites are going to be a problem. We're going to need a different type of move to deal with them. And we can pick up Dig, and that means that I'm going to have to backtrack to the National Park. Even though we don't have great attack, Dig will be a good coverage move for the time being. But even though we have been cursed to hell, we still managed to beat Adam H in the Burnt Tower. That brings us on to Morty. Now Morty's going to be an issue. He loves spamming Curse, and yeah, if we can take out his Pokemon in one hit, we are level 35 here. I've gone against every single trainer that I can, and we finally take out that Haunter. Gengar is next. Shadow Ball does decent damage and takes down our special defense, but 3 Ice Punches work in our favour. Last up is the final Haunter, and 2 Ice Punches give us the win. So Morty was difficult. He was very difficult. But with Ice Punch in our moveset, it works so much in our favour. This brings us on to Chuck, and we are starting to really build some momentum up. So we've switched out Ice Punch for Thunder Punch here. We can't learn Fire Punch, which is really annoying, because I would love that extra bit of type coverage, but Ice Punch and Thunder Punch are still really great moves to have. We take out Chuck with little worry whatsoever, take the Storm Badge, and that brings us on to the next gym leader, which is the reason why I wanted Fire Punch on my moveset, but unfortunately we don't have it to work with. And even with Safeguard to get rid of the Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt is just doing way too much damage, and we've got another Magnemite to contend with here. Unless we get a freeze, yeah, it's just not going to work. So we'll come back to Jasmine in a bit. Let's go do the Rocket side quests, get up a few more levels, go against Price, and then see what we do from there. You might be thinking, why are you not using Solar Beam or Giga Drain? Giga Drain is locked in Kanto from Erica's badge, and Solar Beam, I genuinely can't think of it where it is on the top of my head. It actually wouldn't be a bad strat to use Sunny Day and Solar Beam, but I'm not too sure that we're going to need it. There's not too many Pokemon in Johto and Kanto where you need grass type moves to really hit hard. I mean, Price would be perfect for it, but we've got Thunder Punch, which arguably in this generation would be a much better move. Because Solar Beam is a 2-turn move, it's pretty much a 60 base attack power over 2 turns, instead of 120 over 2 turns. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Either way, his Pokemon aren't really too much of a problem. The worst thing about this Piloswine though is the fact it has Blizzard. Thunder Punch will not hit the Piloswine, and Blizzard does decent damage. It's I hate that he has Hyper Potions. We have also learned Agility, by the way, because, you know what? Agility is going to be useful later on. And I've got it for a very specific strategy for a very specific fight. You will see that towards the back end in this video. So now we've beaten Price. The only thing left to do is to go and beat Jasmine, and I'm worried for this fight. This is where I actually went back and I learned Dig. Once we've got Safeguard set up, we cannot be paralysed, and Dig is one shot in these Magnemite, so I should have went and got Dig earlier on. Even against the Steelix, Dig is a decent move, but with Ice Punch, 2 Ice Punches will take out the Steelix, and we take quite an easy win at level 51. I mean, come on, I'm a Ledyba. Who didn't imagine I'd have to be high level to do this run? That brings us on to going against Adam H again in the Underground, and with our very high level compared to his Pokemon, I don't feel like we're going to have much of a problem. Dig will take out the Magnemites, we've learned that from Jasmine. Quilava is next, and we have Dig for that Pokemon as well. And it's nearly a one-shot. Flame Wheel hits. Thankfully, our special defense is really good, so we can actually tank some fire hits. Sneasel is out last, and we're going to have to go for Dig. Now, it doesn't do all too much, and he's started to chip away at our HP with Feint Attack. And 3 Digs will be more than enough to take out Sneasel. We hit level 54, 55, and we are going on to finish off this side quest. So, the Rocket Executive in later generations, this guy is called Archer. He's got 2 fire Pokemon, 2 dark fire Pokemon, and a Coffin. Coffin's not much of a problem whatsoever. The Houndoom is a problem. Considering he has Ember in his moveset, it's a stab fire move for this Houndoom. You would have thought I'd be worried, but considering how high leveled we are and the fact we've got really good special defense, really didn't do as much as I thought, damage as I thought it would do. It's weird to be using a Pokemon that's got such good special defense in this generation so far. Moving on to Claire. Because we've got Ice Punch, this becomes a very easy fight, even when it comes to that Kingdra. The main thing we want to make sure is that we can get it frozen, or we can just deal out enough damage over the couple of turns. Hyper Beam doesn't do very much to us at level 60, and we can take a first time win. Meaning, we are finally off to the Elite Four. But before the Elite Four, of course, we have our final fight with Adam H. Let's get started on this fight. So, he's got mid to late 30 range Pokemon, which is kind of weird again with the level curve that Gen 2 really has. It's weird that he has such low level Pokemon at this stage in the game. Dig will take out the Magneton very comfortably, and we're onto the Typhlosion, which is the biggest threat on his team because now it has Flame Wheel. 2 Digs will be able to take it out, and we don't honestly take too much damage from the Flame Wheel. This brings us on to the Haunter, and if it uses... yes, it didn't even get a chance to use Curse, which is great. And 2 Ice Punches take out Kadabra and Haunter. Meaning we are on to the Elite Four. And considering we have Thunder Punch and Ice Punch as moves that we can alternate between, I don't really feel like we're going to have too much of a problem here. Most of Will's Pokemon are weak to ground, or they are weak to ice type moves. The worst thing, of course, is this Jinx has a lovely kiss. Yeah. An Ice Punch as well, which we are not very... yeah, we're weak to it. So we're at very low HP here, and we've got 2 Pokemon left to go, one of them being the Slowbro. But we don't even see that Slowbro because Exeggutor uses Psychic, it tanks our Ice Punch. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to set up with Safeguard. And because the Zati went for a Confused Ray, the first verse is same as the first. Second verse same as the first. It's still very early on morning when I'm recording this audio. So, Dig will take out this Jinx, but we made it a lot easier on ourselves having Safeguard up. The amount that trainers in Johto want to put status effects on you is unbelievable, so Safeguard is a fantastic move to use. And there's not many lines that actually get Safeguard. The Dragonite line gets it, Ledyba line gets it. I'm pretty sure there's another Pokemon that I've done a run with so far that has used Safeguard. I can't remember off the top of my head. Either way, it's actually a really good move. Level 63, we beat that Slowbro, and an Ice Punch finally takes down the Exeggutor. We've got our first win of the Elite Four, and it's not off to an easy start, really. Level 63 is not a good level to be doing this at. I've had a lot of runs where I've been a lot lower than this, but you know, considering that we are a Route 1 Bug-type Pokemon, I'm still quite impressed with how Ledyba is doing at the moment. Ice Punch is a great move, and to be fair, the reason why I'm impressed is because of that type coverage with the Elemental Punches. As we've found out so far with Gen 2, if you get them Elemental Punches, you've got a much easier time than any other Pokemon that doesn't get them. The Skiploom video was a nightmare because we didn't get many bits of type coverage. And not only does Fortress gets defrosted here, but Ice Punch is still our best move, and I really don't want it to use Explosion. Thankfully it doesn't this time around, we're onto the Muck. So we're going to use Safeguard because we don't want to get poisoned at this stage. Sludge Bomb does big damage on us, and because he's minimised out... oh, we actually lose to the Muck of all things. Okay. I don't think like we're a million miles off beating Coca. I just feel like we've got a bit of bad luck because of the minimise. So once Safeguard is set up, Wing Attack... oh, fucking... wow. Wing Attack did a lot of damage. Finally we took down the Crobat. Wow. Okay, Ledyba. We're on less HP this time round. Let's hope for a Dig Explosion, maybe. Is it going to use Explosion? No, I don't think it's going to use Explosion. We freeze it again. Okay, that's 2 fights in a row where we've frozen that Fortress. It doesn't defrost itself this time. Can we get a freeze on the Muck? Come on. It goes for Minimise. Sludge Bomb. Can we tank it? 15 HP. Critical hit finishes the fight. Okay, so they're both Elite Four members so far. really, I wouldn't say difficult, but close fights, definitely close fights, really close fights. And you know what? Bruno's actually going to be quite a challenge here. Because he's going to use Fire Punch on his Hitmonchan, he's got a chance to burn. Our Ice Punch is not doing very much, but it's honestly our best move to be using. Machamp as well has got Rock Slide. This is why I was worried for Rock-type moves later in this run. So, Hitmontop is really annoying. It likes to use Quick Attack in this fight, and it uses Detect if you use Dig. Onix, easiest Pokemon in this fight, because you can take it down with an Ice Punch. Hitmonchan has Fire Punch, which is really annoying. To be fair, how we're going to get through this fight, we need a freeze on Machamp. We get the freeze here, and as long as it doesn't... Oh, he's used Max Potion. As long as it doesn't defrost, we've won. Because the Hitmonlee won't do much against Bug-type Pokemon. It's not... Fighting type is not very effective against Bug-type, meaning we don't take much damage and we can take a win. That brings us on to Karen, and... honestly, I feel like she's going to be one of the easier ones. As long as we can set up with Safeguard, we can do alright. Because she likes to put us to sleep, she likes to paralyze us. And the worst thing about this is going to be that Houndoom. We do have really good special defense, so it doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as you might think. And we're on 69 HP going into the Gengar. Ice Punch will do just about half, and we don't want it to use Curse. Okay, it's used Curse. But the next two Pokemon out, they both are weak to Ice-type moves. So I feel like this is still doable. It's going to take 2 Ice Punches for Vileplume, and we freeze it, meaning, yes, we can do this. That's the first time victory against Karen. I'm very happy with that one. And we are finally on to Lance, where we have got Ice Punch to work with. We are going to get rid of Dig here because we want Thunder Punch just for this Gyarados. So we're going to set up a Safeguard and then hit it hard with a Thunder Punch. It is a one-shot KO move. Dragonite is next, and we're going to go for Ice Punch. They cannot use Thunder Wave while Safeguard is up. And that just means the Dragonites just fall into this little ladybug, which is a hilarious concept in my mind. Charizard is up next. Thunder Punch will do big damage on it, but not enough to take it out. Flamethrower will do half damage, and we've got one last Dragonite to contend with. We outspeed, Ice Punch hits, and Ledyba gets a first time win against Lance, meaning this little ladybug has now become the Pokemon League champion in Johto. This thing has beaten dragons, it has beaten everything that has been thrown at it. At level 68, we become the champion. And what time do we finish that on? 8 hours 22 minutes, so it's definitely a lot worse than Spinarak. But bear with me. Definitely bear with me. Because I think even Ledyba will be better than Ariados. Because if you think back to my Ariados run and my Spinarak run, both of them needed double team to be able to complete the game. That's not going to be the case here. Ledyba actually does not need double team to win this game. Meaning, straight away it's actually going to be better than both a Spinarak and an Ariados. You've heard it here first on the internet. Ledyba is better than Spinarak and Ariados in a solo run. Against Blue, we have a real problem. Just bringing it back to the video. That Arcanine hits hard. It hits fast. And I'm starting to sound like Mickey from Rocky again. We need Ice Punch, we need Thunder Punch. But we also need a new move, which is Rollout. So, Rollout is a very good move. Normally I don't usually use it this late on into the game. But Gyarados is weak to it. So is Arcanine. And that Ike Bomb's going to do a lot of damage. Ice Punch will do one shot. I mean, we are level 91 here. We had to go up a lot of levels to beat Blue. Psychic. Wow, 3 HP. We beat Blue at level 91 with a Ledyba. I don't think anyone did not expect that, but yeah. This brings us on to the very final fight against Red. Now, pretty much the way that we do this, we have to PP stall out this Pikachu by using Rest. And when we finally set up Curse and Agility, we can roll out and sweep the entire team. That's the way you do this. You set up Curse, you set up Agility, You stall out Thunder and Thunderbolt from the Pikachu, and then when you are ready, you can sweep with Rollout. So yeah, we did not need Double Team to be able to do this with a Ledyba. And I'm so happy that's the case, because I hate having to resort to Double Team. Ledyba takes the win, and we have completed Pokemon Gold with just a Ledyba, without even using Double Team, and without any held items, by the way. None of my runs are done with held items. That's why the levels look a lot higher than maybe likes of Scott's Forts, Vanman, Squidgy, J-Rose, all of them runs. They all use held items. I don't use them on my runs. We finish at 10 hours 6 minutes with a Ledyba, and I'm honestly more than impressed that we did that without anything like that. This brings us on to next week's Pokemon, so let's see what we get on the wheel. Considering how difficult that was, I feel like we need a better run, and Meganium is not going to be that at this stage yet. Still not ready to do a Meganium run. Next up is Blissey. Okay, you know what, we're actually getting some decent choices here. Blissey would be interesting, and I want to try that. Let's see what's next. Get in! Considering how good Raikou was, I reckon Entei is going to be just as good. Let's do that next week, and we'll see what happens. If you got to this point in the video, please like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, you legends. And we'll see you next week for an Entei run. Take care.